Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create this sort of a wrought iron look for this outer tube here. And this is going to be a metallic material. Okay? So we're going to create this to be a metallic look. So what we're going to do, if you want to see what it looks like, actually, we're going to take a look at the reference. And there it is. And you can see that how this kind of looks like an iron type of material here. See that? So what we want to do is we want to create a wrought iron rough metallic look here. So how do we go about doing that? Well, first thing we need to do is create a new, you guessed it, standard material. And we're going to call this iron. And double click it, and here's sort of like where it where you can see that it looks sort of this gray, and right now it looks like plastic. Okay, so to get something looking from plastic to metal, it would be nice if there's like was just like a little metallic button that you could press, and then it makes it metallic. And guess what? There is one. Actually, and it's kind of new in 3.5. Okay, all I have to do is take the metalness slider and slide it all the way up to 1, and now it's metal. But it doesn't really look like iron. It looks like kind of like a chrome type of a look. If you wanted a real chrome, you could make this sort of like white up here. Okay, and now it looks like really chrome or aluminum or something like that. But we want to actually drag it down because we're going to be kind of a darkish iron. Now, the thing is, though, its surface is too mirrored. Okay? So what we want to do is, we talked about the roughness sliders before, and we talked about roughness maps. And you could also use roughness maps for this if you wanted a scratchy iron or not, or an iron that's like irregular and has like scratches and scuffs in it. You could use like a roughness map, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to use a roughness map. We're just going to give it an all-over sort of rough look. So we're going to drag this slider up to about halfway, okay, and it's going to give you kind of like we'll drag it right to about 4.45, something like that, and it's going to give us a rough metal look, okay, like a buffed metal. And let's just say we want to make it a little bit darker, like that, because we want it to have it like a dark iron. And we're going to take this. That's all you really need to do. And then we're going to take this, oops, and we're going to take this and we're going to drag it onto the torus. And it already looks pretty good. It already looks like metal. And we'll zoom in a little bit onto it. If you want, you can make it a little bit darker. But we'll leave it for now. But however, what I want to do is I don't want to have it so smooth like that, because it is so smooth right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bump map. Okay, not a normal map, but a grayscale bump map to perturb the normals on its surface to give it kind of like a bumpy look. And to do that, I'm going to use something called a Maxon Noise. Maxon Noise texture. Now, this Maxon Noise texture, if I were just to type it right inside of the surface, right onto the surface, you can see that it's just simply a noise. But I don't want that noise. I don't want this particular noise, which is actually just called noise when you click on the node. I want a noise called displaced Voronoi, okay, which looks something like that. So what I want to do now is, now that we know what that looks like, okay, now what I want to do is I want to use it to control the bump map. So you can make bump maps not only from maps, like we already used a bump map or a normal map. You could use it using this Maxon Noise thing. And it's actually, there's a lot of different kinds of noises in Maxon Noise. So you can find a noise that you like for different things. Different noises come with different things. So what I'm going to do, this one happens to be nice to create kind of like a bumpy metal. So we're going to take this. We can't just plug it into the bump. We still have to make, we have to go to the nodes. We still have to make a bump node. Okay. And we have to drag this in to their input, and then drag that onto the bump. And then as soon as we do that already, now wait a second, something looks wrong. Oh, because I just made that mistake that I told you not to make before. I chose bump blender. Okay, so be careful that when you're creating a noise, okay, when you're creating a noise node, I mean a bump node, see bump, make sure you don't choose the bump blender, you choose the bump map. There we go. Now I'm going to click in there, click here into the input, okay, and then we're going to click in the output into the bump map. And then already you can see that there's a nice sort of noise going on into the metal. Now, that's all well and good. If I want to, I can scale this noise up and down. Okay, for example, I can scale this noise up and down over here under overall scale into noise node. So if I wanted to make it twice as big, I can make it twice as big like that. Or if I want to make it half as big, I can make it half as big as what came in. Okay, and now it looks like really, really bumpy. Okay, and let's say we leave it like that, but let's say, for example, in the bump map, which is, by the way, a height field, you leave it as height field. Let's just say we make it 0.25. Okay. Oops. You can see it like that. So that's good. You know, if you want, you could even lower it if you wanted it to be more of a subtle bump, just like something that's not so perfect like that. You could do it like that. Also, if you want, let's darken a little bit this color here. So it's not quite, it's a little bit darker, a little bit of a darker metal. And now what I want to do is I want to take this iron and I also want to put it on these little spikes coming out. So we're going to go ahead to where the cloner is. We're going to find the cone and we're going to drag that right onto the spike. Okay. So now what's happening is that we've got this nice metal look, you know, to the thing. So we can tweak it later if we want to make it brighter or darker. Let's look at the reference just real quick. You know, that's how it looks in the render. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is for the little balls on top of the spikes, I'm going to make it kind of like a brass color. So just really quickly, once again, we're going to take this, we're going to say new standard material, double click it. Okay, this time for the color, we're going to choose kind of like a I don't know, 30 degrees on the hue, and choose sort of like this color, like that. And then guess what we're going to do? Let's slide our metalness all the way up and our roughness to about 0.45. And then boom, we've got a nice burnished brass look. And I'm not going to, and I'm going to call it brass. And I'm not going to bother, like, you know, putting any scratches or roughness on it or anything like that. Just put it on the sphere. And now we've got like a little brass thing so nobody cuts their fingers on these sharp spikes.